On today's episode of Useless Thoughts, we look at a couple of very important issues in society. First, how have we allowed laundry to become so complicated? And second, why have we allowed February to only have 28 days for so long? Will today's conversation be useful to you? Absolutely not. So with that being said, subscribe if you'd like, drop the small talk, and let's do this.
Sitting on top of the world, I don't know if you heard. I'm living it up, yeah, I ain't gonna stop, and I can't hear a word. Good vibes up in the air, and I got plenty to share. So come pick it up, there's tons to be got, and I'm spreading it everywhere. So call it luck and let it run amok. I'm telling your friends it's time to let the good times roll.
This is the Useless Thoughts Podcast, a place where no thought is too random and no topic is too pointless. Let's have some real conversation. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 3 of the Useless Thoughts Podcast. I want to remind you at this time that feedback can be sent to uselessthoughtspodcast@gmail.com. That's all one word, uselessthoughtspodcast@gmail.com. I've appreciated all the feedback I've gotten so far and would appreciate any in the future. And we'll continue to try to make the show better and keep pumping out this useless content. I want to also remind you this time that we are available on every podcast streaming service that you can imagine. Well, that's actually a lie. It's actually just on the ones that I'm about to tell you that we are on. So use on one of these. If not, give me some feedback and let me know what you use, and I'll see about getting it added there. We are on Apple and Spotify. Both of those are pretty popular, I've gathered. You can just search Useless Thoughts on those, and you should be able to find them. We're also on Google Play, Podbean, Stitcher, and TuneIn. So you can listen to us anywhere there, and just let us know if we can add any more to that, and we'll work on that. For today's episode, we're looking at the ever so complicated laundry industry. Now, you might think to yourself that how in the world could you possibly have anything to say about laundry? But hear me out. Now, remember in the old days, before I was born, maybe before anyone listening to this was born, laundry was a fairly straightforward process. There was usually just some mixture of soap and water, and you had to scrub your clothes with that soap and water until the dirt and germs and sweat and all that was out of the clothes, and then you hung it out to dry, and that was it. Hope that it didn't rain when you were hanging it out to dry, and once they were dry, they were ready to go. So maybe not the most fun process to do, but it was simple. Now consider, when I say the laundry industry, consider now what the laundry industry has made us believe is necessary to wash clothes. Consider the products needed to wash clothes. First, you have your detergent. Obviously, everyone is going to need some kind of substance. It used to be soap that was mixed with water. Now we have detergent. That's what we call it. So obviously you need that, and that makes sense. You're like, okay, well, I can put some detergent in the washing machine, turn the water on, and get the clothes going, and that'll be good enough. That's my soap and water mixture. But nope, somehow that's not good enough. Now we need some fabric softener. Apparently detergent can't be made to soften the clothes as well, so we got to add in fabric softener. So now we have two different things that we're buying. And now, if you notice, both of those had some kind of smell or scent on them. It may be fresh linen or daisies or apples or lily pads or all these different smells that they have on them. And you would think that that would be good enough to make your clothes smell good, but no, now they sell these little beads or these pods that you throw into the washing machine with all the clothes so that your clothes can smell fresher. So now you have three different things all in there to wash your clothes. And you think, oh my goodness, surely there can't be anything else. Oh, wait a second. Are you washing white clothes? Then you may want to use some bleach to make them look a little cleaner. Now we have a fourth product that we've brought in. And oh, what is that? You said you spilled a drink on your shorts or your shirt and just washing it isn't good enough? Oh, you got to buy that stuff that you spray on the spot that you spilled, because then that will make it cleaner after you wash it. And so then you think, okay, surely that's all that I have to buy. Surely there's nothing else that I can buy to wash my clothes, because now I've washed them. I'll just throw them in this big machine that will get hot, and that will dry my clothes. And oh, nope. If you thought hot air was enough to dry your clothes, you thought wrong. Now we have to add in a dryer sheet in there to dry with the clothes because apparently hot air does not do the trick anymore like the outside air used to do in the old days. What happened? Big Laundry has completely pulled the wool over our eyes. You think that big pharma or big banks or big oil or big insert industry has a lot of influence? Big Laundry has quietly behind the scenes just completely brainwashed all of us, and we had no idea it was happening. This is not even to mention how complicated washer and dryers are now. That yes, it's nice to have these little touch pads and computer screens, but my goodness, if something breaks, you got to be a senior level software engineer to know how to fix it. And so you may be telling yourself, and you may be thinking to yourself at this time, well, it's okay because it's made it a lot more efficient. It's a lot easier to wash our clothes now, and I can put up with that, and because of how easy it is to now wash clothes. But guess what? There's some clothes you can't actually wash. You got to take them to the dry cleaners. So we've made these machines so fancy, we're buying 6 different products to wash our clothes, and there's still some clothes that can't be washed in it. Not even that. With how complicated all those products are, we can't mix our towels with our clothes. We got to wash the towels separately. We got to wash the bedding separately. We can't wash the white clothes and the dark clothes together still. With all these advancements that we've made, all these products that we buy, we still have to go to that effort to separate them. This is a problem, everyone. Big Laundry has pulled one over on us, and I don't know what the fix is. This is something that has been a big problem in society. It's been brewing for a while, and I don't know if there's a fix for it. So what do you think? Let me know. uselessthoughtspodcast@gmail.com. We take a quick break from this week's episode to bring to you a message from one of our sponsors. The feedback and the support that we've gotten from our sponsors has been so incredible. From my toilet and tap water, and now to this week's episode of the sponsor. It has just been overwhelming here at Useless Thoughts Podcast headquarters, the support that we've gotten from our sponsors, and we just want to let them know we couldn't do it without them. This week's show is brought to you by gift bags. Gift bags have been a lifesaver to many people. If you remember what it's like to wrap a present, and how you try to get all the corners right and fold everything correctly, and you end up using an entire roll of tape in the process. Or maybe you try to eyeball how much gift wrap that you'll need, and you try to put it over the box, and you realize, needed an extra few inches, and then you got to throw away that whole piece of paper. Or you've tried to cut the gift wrap and your scissors, and you're just, cutting along the seam there at the roll, and the scissors are just gliding so smoothly, and you're like, oh, this feels so nice, this is great, and then the paper jams, and you stick the scissors into the carpet or the hardwood floor, and now you've messed that up, and someone's upset at you. Or maybe you got to find the right box, you can't find a good sized box to put it in, and then the box is too big for the roll of paper you got to buy, so then you got to combine 2, or you don't have enough gift paper left. You get the picture. Gift bags saved the day. You have a gift bag, you can wrap the present in maybe 10 seconds, doesn't take long at all. You give it to the person, they don't have to deal with, using a knife to cut open the box. They don't have to know, can I throw away the bow or not? All this stuff. It takes them half a second to open the gift. They get to see what it is. It's great for them. They set the bag down. You could sneak around and look like a cheapskate later at the end of the party, steal your bag back, use it later for another birthday present, another Christmas present, whatever you want to do. Gift bags, they're versatile, they're reusable, they're a lifesaver to many of us, and they sometimes don't get the credit that they deserve. So we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Gift Bags, that made this week's episode possible. Back to the show. The last thing I want to discuss on today's episode is not a complicated topic, not something that I expect many to have opinions on, but nevertheless an important one to discuss. And that is, why have we allowed February to only have 28 days for so long? I want you to think about it with me. Just think through, does it make any sense? We have 11 months that have either 31 days or 30 days. And then we just have this rando month with 28 days in there. And we also thought we were getting cute with this. Let's have this alternating 31-30, 31-30. You have the knuckle system that you can put your 2 hands together to remember if it's a 30 or a 31 day month. But even that doesn't make any sense, because then we have July and August with back-to-back 31 days. And really, if you think about it, then December and January back-to-back are 31 day months as well. It makes no sense. We act like we have, speaking of big laundry, is big calendar putting pressure on us to keep this calendar as it is? Do we not have control to fix it? So if you're going to say, Kyle, you can't just say, like every episode, you can't just complain about things and not offer a solution. Well, I have a solution. Don't you worry. First of all, the alternating 31 and 30-day months back and forth makes no sense. If we were going to do that, we should have just stacked all our 30-day months in the first half of the year and then ended on the last of the 31-day months. That's what we should have done. But I have the fix for us all. We're going to take one day from January and give it to February, and we're going to take one day from March and give it to February. So now January, February, and March are all 30 days. April remains at 30 days. Then we're going to take one day from May and give it to September. And we're going to take one day from July and give it to November. And so that may have been a whole lot of addition and subtraction that you weren't counting on in this episode. But to put it to you simply, January through July all have 30 days, and August through December all have 31 days. This is the most simple system, folks. Why we haven't put this in place, we talk about how the metric system is so much better than the U.S. system, whatever we call the U.S. system, and how we need to implement the metric system because it makes sense. Well, the calendar needs to be fixed as well. Let's throw this in with the metric system, and let's fix the calendar. Let's tell Big Laundry and let's tell Big Calendar that we know a better way to do things. Speaking of the calendar, and while I'm here, and I'm no scientist, as you've gathered if you've listened to any of these episodes, but this whole 365 and 1/4 days, could we not make our seconds be just slightly longer to where it ended on 365 days evenly? Do we not have control over how long a second is, or are we just stuck with how long a second is? Think about that. And that's all that I have for today's episode, folks. I hope that this has not been enlightening. I hope that it has not been useful. I hope that after you've listened to this, you have said to yourself, what a complete waste of time. Because these, folks, are the best conversation topics that you can ever have. I thank you for listening, and I want to offer a piece of advice before we go. One of the things that I don't do well enough in my life is call up friends and family on the phone. I've always justified it and honestly tell myself that I enjoy, not knowing what's going on in people's lives, so then when I see them in person, I have more conversation topics to talk about, and I'm more surprised by news that they give, and the conversations in person are a lot better because we have so much to catch up on. And there may be something to be said for that, but it's a good idea to keep up with your friends and family. So on those long commutes, after you've listened to Useless Thoughts podcast, maybe think about calling a friend or family, assuming you're using a hands-free device, of course. Safety first. Otherwise, just wait till you get home. But reach out to those loved ones, see how they're doing, check up on them, and don't just say to yourself that you'll talk to them when you see them, because we never know when we may get that chance again. Show kindness to everyone, and let's make the world a better place.